What's up, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. I hope you guys are doing well and that you're ready for another exciting week in the markets ahead. I have yet another weekly market profile forecast for you guys for both the ES and NQ futures markets. I will be prefacing this with the fact that I'm going to do my analysis for the coming week on the 1222 contract, but I will be rolling over to the March 23 contract, that is NQ03-23 to be precise, and the same with ES 03-23 as well, as we are seeing more volume roll over to the new March 23 contracts. So once again, I will be doing this analysis based on the 1222 contracts, the December 2022, but we will be trading the March contracts starting tomorrow. So with that said, let's dive in here. It is getting late and I need to get to bed and get ready for the week ahead. So first and foremost, what I will be looking at as far as an NQ session profile perspective is basically how we react to last Friday's low, last Friday's value area, and beyond. So you can see right now, we are currently trading at 11,550, which is basically at Friday's low right here. And my thought is if we can move and hold above 11,550, especially upon open tomorrow, very likely to get a retest of value area low from Friday at 11,625. So a 75-point move there between the low and the value area low. And if we can get acceptance above that, obviously we're going to have to test that point of control before we head up to Friday's high, which is also Friday's value area high at 11,718. So these are my most immediate line in the sand levels. If we do break below Friday's low, look for a move to 11,520, 11,517-ish, which is the overnight low from December 8th into 9th, as well as the current overnight low tonight. And then below that, we have Thursday's low at 11,447, and some good confluence down here between 11,420 and 11,440. So watch these areas on a session profile perspective. I would say the most immediate line in the sand upon open tomorrow is Friday's low. Acceptance above that very likely gets us a test of this 11,600 level. You can see that we have great confluence there between several overnight highs, range high. We also have an initial balance high from the December 6th regular trading hour session at 11,610. So some good areas there to keep an eye on. Now let's bump over to the weekly profile, and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at on a weekly perspective very quickly here. You can see a similar area, 11,440. That's last week's overall low from the regular trading hour session. That's going to be an important area to hold. And if we lose that, very, very likely back down into some lower levels. I would say very likely even down to 11.2K, which is the value area low from the October 28th weekly profile. So keep an eye on these levels to the downside. We can even draw a zone if you're looking at some higher time frame stuff between 11,440, 11,465. You can see that the value area low from a weekly perspective from last week is 470 as well. And that is going to be an important area to keep an eye on. Possibly some good trade opportunity for longs if we get a bounce in this area, or a good opportunity to short the break of 11,440 down to these prior weekly profile levels. I also want to point out that to the upside, if we can get accepted back into last week's value area between 470 and 700, of course, we've got this monthly volume composite right around 11,625. You can see there's good confluence there between 625 and 615, which is the value area low from the November 28th weekly regular trading hour session. The POC from the prior week, 11.6K, and the value area low from the prior week there of November 14th at 11.6K, 11,608 to be precise. So that is what I will be looking at most immediately. If we get accepted back above last week's point of control at 510, look for a move to 11.6K, and then acceptance above 11.6 very likely gets us a test of 11.7. So keep an eye out for those. I will also point out that we do have these weekly naked POCs, one way up here at 12,035 and one way down here at basically 10.9K. So important levels, keep an eye on those, mark those off on your chart. Very, very likely to get some high probability trade opportunity off both these weekly and session profile levels. So that's why I like to use these together. And that's why I like to give a little bit of background on the session profile, even though this is a weekly market profile forecast, of course. So now let's head on over to the ES profile. You can see a very, very similar scenario here. Might have to reload the data. Give me just 1 second. All right, so ES data looks to be loaded properly now, and you will see a very similar scenario where we are currently trading around Friday's lows on ES 39.31. We have the prior overnight lows at 39.30. Of course, the current low for the overnight session that just started a little bit ago is 39.24. So generally speaking, this is going to be an important line in the sand area to hold on ES. If we lose 39.30, look for a move down to 39.15-ish. You can see we have overnight lows from the 6th into 7th and the 7th into 8th within 2 points of each other. So that is going to be an important area to hold on the downside. If we do not hold that area to the downside, then I will pop over to the weekly profile and I'll show you guys some levels to keep an eye out on for further downside below 39.15-ish. But to the upside, if we can remain within Friday's range above 39.31, look for a move to 39.43 first and foremost, then back to test value low from Friday at 39.53. And if we do get accepted back within value, I think it's very likely we move through the POC at 39.66 to test the value area high for a rotation at 39.73. And then if we move and hold above these levels right here, we've got a naked POC not too far away on a session profile perspective, even though it is, 70, 75 points or so away from the naked POC currently. With a relatively strong directional move, we could be at that spot in a matter of hours. So that's what I will be looking at on ES first and foremost. Obviously, this is really not enough information on the current overnight profile. Same with NQ to really gather any significant information. So we'll have to see how this develops and where we end up opening, of course. But keep an eye on 39.30 if we do end up opening around the lows. And if not, keep an eye on these levels right here, 39.43, 53, 66, and 73. I'll say 73 because the initial balance high and the value area high from Friday are only within 3 points of each other. So could call that a major zone to keep an eye out for. Move above this, likely good quick little trade opportunity to the high from Friday as well. And acceptance above this 79 level gets us very likely more good trade opportunity up to 39.90. And then, of course, we have these prior levels to revisit if we do get further upside pressure. So on a weekly perspective, when it comes to ES, a similar scenario. The value area low on ES is actually the same price as the weekly low at 39.2150. So keep an eye out. That's going to be my major line in the sand level on the week moving forward for ES. You can see that we've got good confluence between the low from November 14th there at 39.1375 and 39.2150. So this is an important zone. If we break this zone, I'll be looking for a move down to 38.84. And then very likely about 50 points lower, 38.27. And then we have this naked POC on the weekly down at 38.10. So very, very similar. Once again to NQ, we are pretty much smack dab in the middle of an upside naked POC and a downside naked POC on the weekly. We are also right by the monthly volume composite point of control on the monthly volume profile here. You can see that. This is the highest volume node. We've got some nodes here as well that coincide with other profile levels. You can see this right here, 39.42. That's our next node to the upside. And then boom, last week's POC, 39.6150. That is our next high volume node to the upside as well. So keep an eye on these areas to the upside. Keep an eye on 39.13, 39.20-ish. To the downside. If that breaks, look for some further downside pressure on a higher time frame. And that is really what I will be paying the most attention to moving forward into the start of the week, looking for high probability trade opportunity, looking for, some higher time frame players to tell us where price might be moving for some good probability on our side. So I'll do one more thing. I'll pop over to the weekly chart for NQ. Just give me 1 second to load this up. And we will take a look at this very briefly here. So I was looking at the Qs. So that's what we had before. If you guys saw that load, maybe not. This is what I'm looking at on NQ, however. So NQ, a weekly candlestick chart. If we close below the low of last week, and we're opening pretty darn close to it. If we close below 11,422, that's going to confirm another lower high on the weekly. So that will not be good for the bulls. So what I will be looking at for further upside strength from a macro perspective is at the very least some sort of bullish candlestick structure closing at the end of the week. I think it could be asking for a little bit much, closing above the high of last week's candle at 12,015. But we all know NQ is capable of pretty much anything. So can't rule that out by any means. But I will say that pressure is leaning towards the downside until or unless we see a bit of a change there. So let's pop on over to ES Weekly. You'll see that it is a bit different in the sense that we already confirmed a lower high on the weekly there. So we closed this prior weekly bar right here, just to be clear, below the low of this candle. So the low of this bar was 39.6025. The close of this bar was 39.3625. So we didn't close too far below it, but we did indeed close below it, which confirms technically a lower high compared to this lower high right here on the weekly. So we will see here what happens, whether or not that, we can close a strong weekly above this candle right here, as that would negate this lower high, and that would actually confirm a higher low. So it's going to be very interesting. We're likely going to have a lot of volatility because we have a lot of high impact news events coming up this week. So keep an eye out for that. I like to use forexfactory.com, and you can even filter by low, medium, and high impact events. You can also filter by different countries. So I'm typically filtering, USD only for the most part, and looking at those high impact events because those are what most directly affect the US index futures. So with that said, that is pretty much gonna be all she wrote for this video. I have some good levels that I've provided for you guys. I hope that you can mark them off. I hope that you're marking these levels off every single day and using our trade plan, especially because not only do we provide weekly levels on our weekly forecast videos like I'm doing tonight, but we also provide daily trade plans every single day in our Facebook group for free. We also release them on our Instagram 30 minutes after the open, and we release them 30 minutes before the open for our private community. So if you guys are not taking advantage of those, I highly suggest it. Once again, they are free. Just click the link down below. You can access our Facebook or Instagram in the description below. And as always, let us know if you have any questions. So with all of that said, I will bid you guys adieu. I will look forward to some more content coming in the next few days. I would say I've got some more scalping videos lined up for you guys, so keep an eye out for that. But I want to thank you very much for taking the time to watch this content. If you guys do have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. You can also email us at info@thetradingnetwork.io, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. If you would like to learn more about what we do here at The Trading Network, please check out thetradingnetwork.io, where you can, of course, purchase access to our most popular product, the TTN Pro Trader Bundle, which includes the Fundamentals of Futures Trading course, lifetime Discord access, and the Trading Network Proprietary Indicator Package. You can also access all of those products on our website standalone, and you can get one-on-one mentorship with me as well. If you guys have any questions about anything that I have mentioned today, if you have any comments on this analysis, please feel free to drop it down below. If you guys do enjoy this content, please feel free to like, subscribe, and click that bell notification as well to get notified every single time that we post videos here on the channel. Thank you guys, as always, for taking the time to watch this content. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.